I want to talk about things we loved about the Mario Galaxy movie. Yes, I know there's been a lot of complaints, including from me, but there's still a lot to like about this movie, especially the more I see it. So I want to go into the things that are great about this movie. To do so, I brought on Peter from Popcorn Bus, a great YouTube channel that covers all kinds of movie-related things. You guys recently had a video comparing the Mario Galaxy movie to the Sonic 3 movie, so if you want to hear the verdict of that, everyone should go check that out. Peter, how are you doing today, though?
Yeah, great, mate. It's not too late here in Australia, and I'm a night owl, so it's always good for me to get any sort of ideas and thoughts out during the nighttime.
So, real quick, Peter, since we haven't had you on yet, just give our audience a quick rundown, like your very quick thoughts on the Mario Galaxy movie.
I was really impressed. To be honest, I watched the trailer. I only watched one trailer. That's sort of a rule I have in general, is to watch one trailer.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I think it helped me a lot, to be honest, because a lot of things I had watched. So I watched the trailers after I'd watched the movie, and a lot of these jokes and even sets I'd never seen before. So I like that rule that I have. It allows me to enjoy a movie far more. But yeah, I was really impressed. I thought the first trailer was strong, and then watching the movie, to be honest, I was kind of blown away. The same experience I had with the very first movie, they were able to replicate that for me. Obviously, it's fast-paced, very much so like the first one, but I think I kind of really understand what a Mario movie is like now that I've seen both of them, and especially with the first one. It set a lot of standards for what these movies will be like. So any expectations I did have, they were blown away, to be honest. I thought, yeah, it was just an incredible movie. It's a great time in the cinema, to be honest.
It's amazing to hear. Yeah, I mean, it's a visual treat at the very least, and
Absolutely.
there's a lot to like about it. So, let's get into our highlights, the things that stood out to us as things we really liked that we think this movie nailed. Let's start off with you, Peter. What's one thing you have that you really enjoyed about the movie?
So one thing I think, especially with the first movie, is the voice cast is excellent. So this movie started off with, announcing Chris Pratt and, Charlie Day, which I thought was actually a good fit. But the conversation was about how ridiculous Chris Pratt would be voicing Mario. That is no longer a conversation because they've done an incredible job with these characters, and that's not easy. Say a Disney or Pixar movie, these characters are yours. So if you get that role, you can do whatever you like with them, But it's very hard to be able to replicate a character or, do justice to a character that already exists, in the zeitgeist. And that's what I realized that Jack Black is... I can't even recognize Jack Black as Bowser anymore. There is no Jack Black mannerisms, He's completely changed his voice, and like I said, Chris Pratt and his cadence, Benny Safdie's Bowser Jr. was excellent. You can't fault a single cast member. Like, no one feels like they're here because of their celebrity, I feel like they were cast because they were a really good fit, which is awesome.
That even applies to Donald Glover, who apparently, asked to be in the movie, but I would never know that's Donald Glover. And I think it's to your point, the fact that I haven't personally seen, obviously critics are very hard in this movie, including myself, to a degree, but... I have not seen any complaints about the voice cast. No one I think they got that out of the way with the first movie, and now that we're used to it, it's not a problem at all for anyone now. And yeah, it worked great. I agree. The voices were, I would say, borderline perfect across the board.
Yeah, exactly right. And the fact that it's not a conversation is a huge, it's a huge feat. They were able to cast massive celebrities, and no one is recognizing these celebrities anymore in these roles. So that's awesome.
I still don't understand how Donald Glover did that voice. Did they speed it up? Did they have to do anything to it? It just sounded perfect. I love, honestly, that's Yoshi to me now. I like that voice to the game voice more now.
Well, he gives you a lot more as well, He's given a lot more to do with Yoshi. And
yeah, because he can actually react to what's happening rather than just being a default voice line, right? So
yeah, that's right. Instead of just saying his name. And on the second watch, I could not pick up. I was really trying to hone in and is there any clues that this is Donald Glover? And there isn't. There isn't at all. No.
It's flawless. So, all right. Moving on to something I liked. I appreciated this was a true sequel. Going into this, I mean, especially before the first trailer, the way they were talking about this movie, they were making it sound like it's just another movie in the Mario universe rather than being a sequel to the first movie, which is a movie I adored. I love the first one. So I was worried that they may step away from it being a true sequel, either in the sense that it's just a whole new take on Mario, or that it's so separated from the first movie that it effectively is like its own self-contained story. I like that they continued where the first one left off. We still have Tiny Bowser, in prison in Peach's castle. the answer to Peach's backstory. We even have smaller moments too of how, like, you know, Luigi's more confident now, like he's not as scared as he used to be, even though they joke about that early on. Even Mario's like story arc when the first one comes back into play with how Bowser plays off of that, you know. And I just really like that. I like that they continue the story, because some of the complaints I think have come from like hardcore Mario Galaxy fans, which I also am one, who just wanted a one-to-one adaptation of the game. And I was actually afraid they were going to do that. I'm actually glad that they didn't. Not that I wouldn't have minded a few other elements from the story coming into play here, but I actually really appreciate that this is a sequel to the first movie first and foremost, with, you know, Galaxy as an additional layer on top of it.
Yeah, and I think, Andre, I think it's a tell for the third movie as well. So I had a few hang-ups with my first viewing, like, where are Peach and Mario exactly now? Like, I feel like we didn't really get that date. And even with... sorry, I've just forgotten. It was... even with Rosalina and Peach, sorry, their backstory, which it kind of raises more questions than it answers. And I just thought, you know what? Yes, for this movie it's not answered, but there's a really good chance now that these third movies are going to touch on it, because they've been able to do that with the first one and the second one. So it's excited me a lot more for the third one.
That's a great point. I have been thinking about that, like, you know, I have my issues with the second one, and I'm thinking maybe a third one can help, like, resolve some of those and make the second one's place fit in even better than it currently does. And also, to your point, like, the fact that they so well followed up on story teasers on the first one in the second makes me think they're gonna do the same in the third. You know, we're gonna find out who that mysterious villain force or whatever was in the backstory of Peach and Rosalina that forced their separation. We'll probably find out who that is in the third movie, I'm guessing. You know, and there's a few other things that they teased. I think. Oh well, Daisy, of course, who will pop up. By the way, full spoilers here in case you didn't get that. I'll probably add a mention at the beginning of the video for that. But yeah, great point. Back to you. What other things did you like, or what else did you like about this movie?
I've seen a lot of people sort of bring this up, or I think it's maybe slept on, but these are, especially with this movie, these are incredible action movies. And I noticed this, especially with the second watch, the cinematography is really dynamic. Like when Mario and Luigi go up against Bowser Jr., the way the camera moves and puts you in these different positions behind the characters. I mean, I guess it's a virtual camera. It's an animated movie. I don't really recall like an animated movie looking like this, especially with their action sequences. And I feel like that's never commented on how good the action is. And it feels impactful and it feels really intentional. It's really dynamic. It is great action. And they sort of play a similar role to like what a Marvel movie would be for me, is that I would actually go back and rewatch those sequences because they're that good.
Yeah. The Bowser Jr. fight in particular, I think, is a standout. I could be wrong, but I think that actually might be, for by and large, or at least have segments of like a one take shot, or, you know, a long shot, like where the camera angle isn't changing and just following the action. That's something the first movie did as well, and I loved it then, and I liked the elements of it we saw here. And yeah, like there's a lot going on, yet it's pretty readable, especially in that battle. I would say the final battle is a little focused by comparison, but still really good. And yeah, it feels like there's weight behind these actions, you know, like they are able to capture like a Mario boss fight in a way we've never seen before, and, you know, we'll never see in the games like this.
Not
right?
Even close. Yeah,
exactly.
Totally.
I mean, seeing Mario like grab the book and slam it on the axe, it's so good.
Yeah, I've never feared for like Mario's life in the games, you know. It's always, right, you know, very sort of cordial and polite, you know, a nice bounce on the head, and, you know, they're sort of wrapped up.
Because even in the games, if he dies, he just comes back anyway, right? You know, in the movie, he, in theory, could die. Obviously, he won't. We know he's not going to die.
Yeah,
but,
that's
like,
right.
The fact that they can, you know, somewhat trick us into thinking, oh, maybe something could go wrong here is impressive, right? So
yeah, and the characters are screaming for their lives. You know, like Luigi's squealing. You know, this is life or death for him. This isn't, you know, just like a nice romp into the Mushroom Kingdom. You know, this is very serious.
Yeah, you're right. And speaking of Luigi real quick, there's a little touch in the desert sequence when they first come across Yoshi before realizing it's Yoshi, where Luigi says something like, "I stared into the tunnel and the devil stared back," which also acts as a callback to him calling Francis the dog in the first movie a hellhound. I'm like, I love this. Like, Luigi's
That's
like
actually a great catch.
It is, yeah. It's really, it just makes him really scared. I like how he like just seems scared of hell in general. Like, what did he do, Luigi, to be so afraid of where you're going afterwards?
And he has a line about like, it was great being a baby because he didn't have to worry about his fears all the time, and it makes you think like, what is going on in Luigi's head
I think
24/7?
we need that Luigi's Mansion movie to find out. I think we need that.
Yeah, or an Inside Out Luigi's Mansion movie.
Yeah,
Movie.
right. Maybe Luigi's Dream Team movie. There you go.
That'd be great. Yeah. Take some inspiration from Inside Out.
That'd be pretty great. Going back to Yoshi for one of my highlights, we already touched on his the voice cast for it. I just like Yoshi in general. I will say, story-wise, a little weak. They just totally shoehorned him in there. That said, for what he is, I thought he was great. Like, really cute, fun mannerisms. I love how he just, like, web slings around using his tongue. Like, that's amazing. I want more of that in the games. Galaxy 2 had a bit, but I think they could really lean into with, like, how mobile it made him in this one, and just a lot of fun. A really cute addition that fit in well, once you get over the kind of suddenness of it all.
Yeah, and I totally agree. And it's sort of another really amazing thing that the movie does is a lot of the characters' movement is always... they always keep in the back of their mind that this is from a platformer,
right?
Inspiration. So Yoshi's never just jumping on a tree. He's moving in a really great way. And the same way with Peach and Toad when they follow... is it Ukiki?
Ukiki,
the monkey? Yeah, when they follow him into the the casino, they're platforming. Like, the movie makes sure to remind you that this is sourced from a platformer, and I love that. And Yoshi is great. He plays that best friend. He's sentient enough. He sort of fits like a Pikachu role for me, but he's also kind of like a pet, and that's him in the games. You don't really know where he comes from, and he doesn't have a whole lot to do, but this movie makes sure the time that they use Yoshi, they use him really effectively with the brothers.
And to that point of not knowing where he came from, the little montage of scenes they had with Yoshi was I actually one of my favorite scenes in the movie, I think, where he's in New York going through different areas. And I love also how at the end of the montage, Mario and Luigi are like, well, I guess we'll never know where he came from,
Yeah, after explaining to us for like 5 minutes what he went through.
That's so good.
Yeah.
All right, what's your next, I forget who went last, whatever. What's your next favorite thing from the movie?
So maybe an issue I had with the first movie is I'm always trying to be cognizant of the fact that every character is someone's favorite. And I thought Toad got sort of the short end of the stick in the first movie. Like, Peach tells him that he's really brave, but we don't get to see him do anything super brave. I kind of wish he'd maybe helped her out with the ice flower or something like that at the wedding. But in this movie, he finally gets to don the penguin suit and actually take out some bad guys. And on the second watch, I'm watching him zip around in the background, and I thought that was really awesome. And he gets to save the babies as well with the dinosaur. So even though it seems like there was more characters, I felt like the characters, despite being plentiful, actually got far more to do in this movie than the first one. So it was really good to see Toad get, really sort of step up to the braver Toad that we were expecting in the first movie.
He's basically Captain Toad now, right? So
is he Captain Toad? I was kind of waiting for that.
I don't know. I was kind of waiting for that too. And he's got the headlamp, so he's basically Captain Toad. But he's not in name or anything. Yeah, I was kind of wondering we would get the Toad Brigade here, but no, it's just Captain Toad. We did get the Blue Toad though, so I guess that's kind of close.
That Blue Toad, I can't help every time I see him and wonder why he isn't Toadsworth. I mean, they're happy to throw back to, 30 years and all these sort of throwbacks, but Toadsworth, I guess, is just officially dead.
Yeah, he's gone. He's long. I also think it's a facial hair thing. I don't think they want Toads to have facial hair, so I think that's why he's out.
It's such a strange hang-up, but yeah, I kind of get it.
I mean, I just made it up. I don't know if it's real or not, but I'm sticking with it, so...
Okay. Miyamoto hasn't come out and confirmed that yet.
If I ever interview Miyamoto, I'm gonna ask him about that. Hey, what do you have against Toad's official hair? All right. Speaking of characters, I will go with an obvious one. I've already talked about this a lot. Fox McCloud, though. I actually, despite me bumping up initially about him being in the movie at all because it's a Mario movie, I love how they handled him here overall. Like, from his backstory to his character to his mannerisms. I've seen a lot of people, throughout the complaints, too much like Falco now. I'm like, I don't really get that sense. Like, Falco's more arrogant, and more like, I don't know. I feel like his personality is pretty distinct to Fox, they definitely amped up his energy for this role, which I think they needed to anyway. And I just love the characterization that they gave Fox. So I definitely need more of this Fox in the future, whether it's a game or in his own movie or whatever it is, because he was just a lot of fun. It's funny because someone added at the time, for me, it feels like, and for a lot of people, it feels like he's in this movie more than Rosalina. Turns out he actually isn't. But that shows you like how much of a presence he does have in his like 6 minutes or so of screen time. It feels like more than that, and they make the most of it, so...
And I think it's more of a question of impact. So the time that he is on, like, he is high octane. The second, he's introduced, I mean, I'm pretty sure he's like
I love
shouting
doing
his
barrel
lines.
rolls.
Yeah, exactly right. I have to say, the only thing with Fox, I think the only reason some people are critical now is, and I'm still trying to understand the decision of like them, ruining the surprise of Fox McCloud like 6 days before the movie came
I
out.
don't know either.
So I think when you remove that surprise, people come in a little bit more critical because they know to
Yep.
expect him now. Whereas if I had no idea Fox was in this movie and some of my friends had no idea, you're just wowed by the fact that he's here. Like his presence is just like blowing your mind. You don't have time to sort of, maybe it's a bit hard, but you don't have time to think critically about his role in the movie.
No.
Whereas when you're anticipating him, you kind
Yep.
of want to know what his role is going to be, and is it eating away from other characters. But I have to say, I'm actually not a huge Star Fox fan. Only because when I used to play Smash Brothers 64 as a kid, I used to hate versing him in classic mode because I couldn't beat him.
Oh,
So I've had this animosity
personal.
with him. Yeah, for decades. I've just never warmed up to Fox, and this movie has gotten me really excited if they do eventually drop, a rumored Star Fox game. So
And
great job, movie. Like you've gotten me, on board for the next Star Fox game because he was that great in this.
Hopefully this leads to good things for Star Fox. Yeah, he's overdue for some more good things. Let's hope they nail the next game, because I definitely would love to see more of Fox, especially this Fox. I loved the voice, Glenn Powell. You mentioned the voice cast earlier, just on point. Loved it. So that was mine. So what's your next favorite thing from the movie?
I think Peach and Mario's relationship is starting to head into a bit of a Zootopia situation, which I think is really good for the movie. So what they're doing is, I think it's far more incremental, so us as the audience start to root for them. There's something to look forward to in the next movie. So they might get that date. They might get some more screen time together. They might confess feelings instead of jumping the gun. So I understand like the disappointment of like, well, they didn't get the date, or, they didn't sort of get, become official. But I like that the time that they spent together was, was really meaningful, because I think less is more in their regard. So that them together was just, and then to end up with that sequence with those two going through the platforming in the Bowser Jr. Booby trap, I guess I'd call it.
Yeah,
the 2D and
the Mario
3D.
Maker segment.
I guess that's the best way to describe it. The Mario Maker segment. Not only is that like animated well, but they kind of develop their relationship through that. And I noticed that on the second watch, like she takes his hand. And things like that I think are really, really impactful, and that was really fun to see. I like that they're pacing themselves with their relationship.
Yeah, I'll have more to say about the Mario Maker scene in a few moments here, but I actually by and large agree with you. I do think I was a little let down in that the thing they're teasing up, the like asking around on a date and the whole thing, that never amounts to anything, which is why I said earlier the third movie, once we have the third movie, maybe it'll help the second one fit in, because otherwise it just feels like a dropped thread here. It's like, why were you even teasing that if you weren't going to go anywhere with it? But putting that aside, I actually liked everything you mentioned as well. I liked all those cute little moments. In particular, one that stood out to me is when Mario basically like shuts the gate on Peach, locking her behind so he can fight Bowser and Bowser Jr. alone. I mean, that's awesome for a number of reasons. One, it just shows like, how confident Mario is now and how much he cares about Peach, and she can go do her own thing too. But also there's a moment where they hold hands like through the bars, like, which is just so cute and really endearing. The main thing I wish the kiss at the end, when she kissed him, was like a little bit longer, because it just happens so quick, and then they just go right to the credits basically. I'm like, oh, then we should have let that sink in a little bit more. Putting that aside, though, yeah, I actually like how they're teasing it and developing it. I will say, to your point, I don't know if I fully agree with it being more incremental than Zootopia. But I get the intent of what you're saying, but I feel like in Zootopia they're still playing the will they or won't they game. They're just playing around with the idea more, almost in a fourth wall breaking way in the second one at least. Whereas in this one, like, it's pretty clear they are developing something for sure. Whereas in Zootopia, it's like they could just keep teasing that forever, and nothing ever happens. Whereas Mario and Peach, I feel like they are actually moving things along slowly, but things are going in a direction,
I think I'm just expecting them to end up together in Zootopia.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the problem.
In Zootopia
Zootopia.
Maybe that's it. Maybe it's a perspective thing. Yeah, for me, I'm like, I don't know what they're
these guys are
doing.
going to work out. Yeah, they're going to work out 100%. So, Mario and Peach are just sort of taking their time to get there as well.
Speaking of Zootopia, actually, now I'll get to. Actually, now I'll mention it now since I had that segue. Speaking of Zootopia, I was going to mention how I love some of the gags in this movie, like the Rob gag in particular, which is similar to the sloth scene at the DMV from Zootopia. I will say I actually preferred it here. Like, the sloth scene was funny the first time, but hilariously actually drags on rewatches. The whole, like, DMV sequence is like 5 minutes, whereas the Rob scene gets the same joke out of the way in, like, what, 30 seconds or so? And I like that they cut back to it again later to see Mario's intense frustration, especially with how it ties into, like, a real-world thing of Rob, where he is slow. He's a slow-moving robot character in real life. So I love that they brought that in. Really clever joke, even if it is, you know, possibly riffed off of or taken from Zootopia. But there's other clever jokes too. I love, like, when you see the Pikmin ship landing. It looks like this massive spaceship at first. It's super tiny. The little Pikmin come out, and there's just lots of, like, fun little, you know, cute Easter eggs, Easter egg jokes, or, you know, jokes that have a little bit more meaning than it may seem at first, and or maybe not even that, but, like, are more clever than they could have been, I suppose, is what I'm getting at. So
Yeah, and that's what I like. I felt like even all the Easter eggs, and I guess this is this is a spoiler chat, but the Game and Watch one is really, like, it's really well thought out. It works within the context of the scene. So, you know, Luigi is trying to draw. He's a terrible drawer. There is a paintbrush. It explains why he would draw someone like a Game & Watch. So I thought even those gags were fantastic. They never felt forced or just check out our IPs for the sake of our IPs. Everything felt really intentional. They served a purpose.
yeah, it's funny because that Game & Watch one is one I bumped up against the first time because it did take me out of it. Yeah. I will say on rewatches, though, it does work a little bit better. And I think, you know, if you're like someone, like I took my parents to see the film too, who have no idea who Game & Watch even is, it probably plays even better for them. I mean, it may even play better for them because they don't recognize it as being something that isn't Mario, you know, whereas for me, I'm like, oh, this is definitely not a Mario thing popping up all of a sudden, you know? But I do like it more.
Sorry, go. No, go. Oh yeah, I was going to say, well, my cinema loved it, and I wasn't really sure. I'm like, wow, these all sort of maybe Smash Brothers fans? Are they all Mario fans, or do they just like the fact that this random
They're Game & Watch fans? They exist.
This stick figure character just appeared and just KO'd Bowser. I mean, maybe he shouldn't have been the one to knock him out, but the movie.
I think that's what took me out of it, like how much of a factor he was. Like he had a pretty big role in that brief moment he had. So.
Yeah, it makes you think if Luigi didn't draw him, like, what would have happened?
Yeah, right. What was going to happen exactly?
No idea.
All right, what's your next favorite thing?
I thought Bowser Jr. was far better than I expected as well.
Mm-hmm.
In the games, he's okay. I find him a little bit annoying. He's always sort of okay. That's good. He's very sort of snotty, and he's pretty much crying most of the time, especially if he loses, you know, in Mario Tennis or whatever it is. Whereas I was kind of surprised how far they went with him in this movie. I'm like, damn, he's like proper evil. And he gives a really nice third layer to Bowser. You know, Bowser doesn't have to sort of be obsessed with Peach anymore. He can sort of resume his fatherly duties and give his life a bit more purpose. But Benny Safdie was excellent with the voice work as well.
Yep.
And I think I love that trio of the, you know, Bowser, his son, and the sycophant Kamek. Kamek's also really slept on as well. Kamek made me laugh in the first movie. He makes me laugh in this one. He's such a great character. Every line he has very few, but they are crack up.
Yeah, Kamek's great. I fully agree with you. But Bowser Jr. as well, I enjoyed more than I was worried I might, because I've historically not been a Bowser Jr. fan, especially as one who grew up with the Koopalings, you know, Bowser's true kids that he replaced, unfortunately. But I will say I did enjoy him in the movie. I think it worked. I think they found a good role for him here. And I also like, too, to kind of build off of that, you know, is what they do with Bowser and Bowser Jr.'s relationship. In particular, how it's Bowser Jr. that's almost a bad influence on Bowser. Like, you know, it's almost like Bowser influencing himself. Bowser raised Bowser Jr., but then that, you know, what that led to pulls Bowser back from the good side back into being a bad guy, you know? And I think that actually is a fun inversion. I had mentioned before, I wish I'd gone a little bit farther with, you know, one of those angles, like, you know, maybe Bowser, like, isn't fully on board with turning fully evil again or whatever it is. I will say rewatching it again, though, I bumped up less against that, and I just like the whole dynamic that they have. And then you got the whole puppet show, too, which is kind of amazing.
Yeah, he's a very good bad dad, if that makes sense. But I I am with you where I was kind of shocked at the movie. I don't know if it was like the lesson they intended to be for Bowser. It was like, actually, it's good to be evil, or like, if your family's evil, stick with them. I really thought he was gonna maybe pull Junior back and go, hey,
Right,
you're
that's what I
getting
was
really
thinking.
carried
Yeah.
away with this. Like, I love you regardless. But he's like, no, thank you so much for reminding me how evil I am, which is really like good cartoon logic. I think it played really funny for me.
It did, I agree, and obviously Bowser is typically the bad guy, so especially if you look at it in a meta sense too. Like they did a decent job of having it make sense for him to revert back. And even if he did revert, I still like that they explored him being on the friendlier side for a while, and it was just really funny too. Like Jack Black as Bowser is just amazing. He might be one of the best characters I think in the movie. Period. So
I think he is. I think that's safe to say completely. Yeah.
yeah. Something else I liked, you kind of brought up already, but the Mario Maker scene, like that whole scene is actually pretty genius, I think. Like that's a really smart use, like turning Mario Maker into Bowser's OS, like a defense system, It's so clever, where Bowser Jr. is dynamically like adding things to the environment. You're seeing it play out in 8-bit and also 3D at the same time. All very clever, and not just that though, but I think as we mentioned earlier, like how it also is a great action scene. We see Mario and Peach like saving each other during it, which is a really cute touch. And also like too, like the moment at the end when it looks like it's almost game over for them with all the bombs and the lava. Like I actually thought it was a pretty clever scene where Mario's like, like basically, do you trust me? They jump. He didn't say it, but like, they jump off. He's got the parasols. Like, what are you doing, Mario? You're just killing yourselves? What? And then he realized the bombs are gonna fall off. It creates an updraft to use a parasol to get out of there. I thought that was clever, cartoon logic, obviously, but I thought that was a cute way to end that scene. And yeah, I just really loved everything about that. It was like a really clever, I think, moment in a really smart way of bringing in, Mario Maker in a way that isn't like too intrusive.
Yeah, and look, Peach is really competent in both of these movies.
Yes.
And the fact that she takes Mario's hand shows that she's like, I trust you. Like, she knows what she's doing, but she's like whatever you need me to do, I'm gonna do it with you. And to see them team up and just diegetically, like just to do that scene, it like I said, it didn't feel forced either. And the action is really intense in that. Like the platforming is animated, beautifully. The fire is really well illuminated. Yeah, it was just really clever. That got the biggest reaction in my cinema, I have to say.
Oh,
like
awesome.
I think a lot of people were sort of gasping. You can see kids pointing and adults pointing and stuff. I think people got a real kick out of seeing like 2D Mario, and then switching it straight back to the 3D.
Yeah, that was a really fun thing. Like now I want. Could they make a game like that? Where there are these more 2D and 3D elements interacting with each other or something. I think it'd be really fun if they made like an asymmetric game where one person is playing as Bowser trying to destroy someone else playing as Mario. As you're like making this level in real time and Mario's trying to get through it. So
that would be a great game, like an online game. Yeah, where,
that'd be great.
You choose to be Mario or Bowser, and you're just trying to stop each other in real time. That'd be fantastic.
How about you? What's your next favorite thing you want to highlight?
Oh, well, I said this actually in my my video where we compared to Mario Galaxy with Sonic, but Gusty Garden Galaxy. I mean, I guess it's a credit to the Mario Galaxy score in general. Like the soundtrack is the best soundtrack I've ever heard in a video game, and they do it justice here. Like they play the Gusty Garden Galaxy theme every single time it's needed. I think they played in 3 specific instances when Peach reaches the Gateway Galaxy. And then when Mario fights Bowser,
Right.
and Bowser Jr. and he does his galaxy spin, and it gave me goosebumps. Like it is an amazing soundtrack, and there are themes that I can recognize, but I can't tell. So it's like I just want to go back and listen to it and go, where did they pull this from? Like I know it is far deeper than even I picked up the first time around, and it just elevates the entire movie. Like it is a whole other aspect of the movie that I can enjoy separately.
Hearing the Star Fox music during his segments was like, oh my god! I never thought I'd hear this on in a movie theater. That was amazing. So,
and to give it even more energy than it's ever had.
Oh, absolutely! Yeah, just cranked up to 11. It's so good. I love that. So.
Like I've been listening to it driving, and I'm like, that is dangerous to do. Like that is not a good idea.
Going 900 miles per hour down the freeway.
yeah, or kilometers over here.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yes. Something else I loved was just the way they tied in, for one, Wart, making him a real being, making him, exist again. Thank you, Illumination. I love that. But also the cleverness in, like, making him the crime lord of this, like, seedy underbelly of Gateway Galaxy. I made a short last night comparing how it's actually basically like Star Wars, this entire segment, where you've got Gateway Galaxy as Mos Eisley, you've got the cantina there that Peach and, Toad warp to, Wart is Jabba the Hutt, basically. Fox McCloud is Han Solo. They pay him off to take him elsewhere. And of course, you got a Death Star involved in all this, too. And I just think that's all, like, really clever. Especially, like, tying in the Minus World to the whole thing, where they enter through a brick wall, and that's how you access this weird glitchy, or, through the glitch wall into this seedy underbelly. I just loved everything about it. And having the other Mario 2 boss enemies as his, Wart's minions. I thought that was a lot of fun. I think that was really well handled. And just really fun to explore. I almost wish we spent more time there, but I enjoyed that whole sequence so much.
And I think it was really clever to have Peach and Toad be in that sequence, because I'm pretty sure that's the first time there were playable characters in that game as well.
Yes, that's actually a great point, and they're the ones to
so
take
I remember
down
thinking that, I'm like, yeah, these guys deserve to be, up against these villains. They go way back in the games, it's their first appearance, so that was a really fun throwback. And that's what I mean, these movies really reward you for the things that you pick up on as like a Super Nintendo fan, or even if you're a casual.
Right, absolutely. It was also fun to see Peach use a mushroom power up there, which we hadn't seen her use yet in the movie, just to, threaten Wart even more than they, already had, just by taking down his entire ninja army, so...
I feel like they don't use the mushroom enough. Like, they introduce
right,
it when you're training, and then they never bring it up until she uses it. And I'm like, I kind of forgot that the mushroom, it seems really useful. Like, if it's going to get you that strong and maybe size you up against Bowser, like, why not?
Yeah, would you want to be big all the time? Like, that's kind of an important thing. Yeah, good point.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
I mean, Mario, at least in the first movie, does at least use it again in the battle sequence heading back up to, with their, they crash land in the Mushroom Kingdom with DK. So they at least do use it there. But yeah, otherwise Mario doesn't use it here at all, I don't think. He uses a drill mushroom, but that's not a mushroom, so... Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. And that was a good, sort of throwback to Wonder, which I guess is not that old, but that's what I mean. It's just so fun pointing these things out. Like, people think Easter eggs might be like sort of a hacky thing to do, but I love them, especially in a Mario movie. Like, when else will you put Nintendo references in a movie, if not in a Mario movie?
Yeah, I mean, and I think especially as it applies to the first film, like, people are complaining about having too many Easter eggs. It's like, that's just world building, like, yeah, there's Goombas and Koopa Troopas running around because that's what the games are, that's what that universe is, And I think the first game in particular, like, or first movie, really did a good job incorporating it, where, especially with the Easter eggs of that being background. I will say that Easter eggs in this one are maybe, they were pushed a little bit more to the foreground, like the Mario Maker sequence, for instance, though I guess you could equate that to Mario Kart from the first one, but, Game & Watch again, also, debatably, the Dragon Odyssey. That being said, like I said, rewatching it again, it'll play a little bit better the second and third times, because, wasn't surprised by them, so... but yeah.
I felt that way about Rosalina putting on the Mario Maker helmet. I was like, oh, that's a bit far for me. I don't know why that one just rubbed me the wrong. Yeah, that one was like a little bit too much.
Yeah.
Like, you could have just stuck with the hammers, but yeah, putting the helmet on, I was like, okay, yeah. I'm pretty good with these, but this might be pushing it.
She might as well just turn to the camera and be like, remember, buy Mario Maker 3 when it comes out on Switch 2 in 6 months. Speaking of Mario Maker...
I'm surprised that wasn't the post-credits.
Yeah, actually, it really should have been, right? At this point. Speaking of Mario Maker, which had a world map, a little segment I liked was the whole sequence where Mario and Luigi are taking care of the Mushroom Kingdom, and they use like an old school, like, top-down Mario map, but as like an alert system, where it's like indicating where there's a problem. I'm like, that's a cool idea. I kind of wish they would do that in the actual games, rather than being like a linear type thing. Like, what if, like, oh yeah, there's crap happening on the Mushroom Kingdom, and maybe you have to, like, you have like a time limit too. Like, well, there's two things going on opposite ends. Which one do I want to go to first, So I thought that was just a really fun idea that they used it in that way. I'm like, oh, that's clever. I wouldn't have thought of that,
That was actually one of my favorite parts of the movie, because with the first movie, I'd say one of my issues is they didn't spend a lot of time in the Mushroom Kingdom. I'm like, please, this is animated, like, amazing. Like, I want to spend time here. I want to see what, a day in the life of one of these toads are. And I was actually really happy. I was kind of worried when it was a Galaxy movie that we'd sort of skip through, the Mushroom Kingdom again. But I'm so glad we got time, and I loved, that world that world map sequence, because I guess we kind of see what Peach does on a day-to-day. I guess she gets alerted and she runs off and knocks the,
I
the
guess that's the
Hammer Bros. And it just
implication.
that's what I thought. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
cool. This is what life is like. I get it. I don't need to see the Mushroom Kingdom. It's pretty simple. Like a toad, I guess, knocks his ice cream down and he calls the princess to come fix that for him. So it's a pretty good life they have.
Yeah, no kidding. They're freaking pampered. But on the other hand,
Yeah, I mean, they're tucked into bed. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. They get kisses from the brothers, like.
Yeah.
And another thing that scene did too is that it really drove home just how competent Mario and Luigi have become now. Like, they are able to run this kingdom. Clearly, we see that through these scenes where they have no trouble taking care of these, the Hammer Brothers, the Chomps, and whoever else is attacking them. I guess Yoshi took care of the Chomp, but you know what I mean. Like, they've got this kingdom under control now. So, which is also fun. And again, showing that through literally a world map is pretty genius. And that's what I mean, like, getting back to your point, like, that's a clever use of an Easter egg. Yeah, like, it is, in a sense, it is a reference, but also it's just a really smart way of going about it. So, how about you? Any other favorites? I'm running low now, but any other highlights for you?
I definitely think the post-credits were really solid as well. I'd say they were better than the first one. The first movie seemed a little bit uncommitted. It was like, oh, there's a Yoshi egg. We're not really sure what to do with it. I thought putting like a gag post-credit is always great. And again, to talk about trailers, I didn't know that scene was in it. So going back to see that they actually ruined a post-credit scene in the trailer, like,
that was weird.
Made no sense.
It made no sense.
Like, why would you show Luma Lee like in this?
Yeah.
Because I kind of thought it'd be Wario. Like, I'm like, oh, Wario is like a prison warden. That's like, that kind of works for me.
Right.
So it was a really fun surprise to see.
Wario Den, a Wario Den.
Yeah, I guess you could call him that, right?
Yeah.
And I think Daisy was fun. I thought it was really punchy. I mean, punchy, I guess.
Literally, yeah. Good one.
It was good to go, all right, we're heading this way as well. Because, Luigi does tease, wanting making sure Mario asks, Peach if she has any friends. And, there will be a follow-up to that. So that kind of gives me hope that these sort of loose ends will be tied up in another movie.
Yeah, and that's why I think this movie may play better when it's within the context of all three. But yeah, I agree with you. I do think the first movie's post credits, the last scene in particular with Yoshi, was a little weak. Primarily because we'd already seen Yoshi, so it wasn't that big of a surprise. It's like, okay,
we saw him
Yoshi.
Physically, yeah, and then we see the egg, and then like, there's an egg. I'm like, yeah, we saw that was a gift.
Exactly.
To Bowser, wasn't it?
I mean, I didn't mind the egg part only because it explains it. That comes back, but I think having that combined with seeing the Yoshis really was a little bit much. It's like, okay, well, we already know how he's gonna look like, I think had they just cut the Yoshi scene, it would have been more impactful. So that's why I think I'm with you that Daisy worked better, just because for one, we actually get to see her, and two, there was no tease of her at all outside of maybe Luigi's comment, which even itself, could have meant anything, right? It was just more a joke than anything. But yeah, I like how it all ties together, and especially I'm excited to see where that leads for Peach, for her and Luigi, and there's a lot they can do, I do wonder like where exactly they're going to go with this. And one idea I've had is, maybe I mentioned earlier already, but maybe if they want to bring in more wonder elements, without being literally the Flower Kingdom and Daisy being known for having that flower connection, she could be the leader of that, or make the Flower Kingdom part of Sarasa Land or something. So.
Andre, I had the same thought. I was like, I think they might, because these movies clearly show that they take the concept and then they blend it with whatever they feel like they need to blend it with. And I thought Sarasa Land, and I think Mario Wonder is a great title for the next movie. And they'll probably tie in like the Wonder Flower with her, and she has some connection to it the same way, Rosalina did with the Lumas. Right.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I was thinking about this, like, where do you even go from Mario Galaxy? And Wonder does seem like a pretty natural way of going about it. Though it does, if they go that route, I am still upset that they skipped freaking Mario World. I wish they had. I still think they could slow down a little bit, done Mario World first, but whatever. It is what it is now.
Because you still could have introduced Yoshi and Bowser Jr. in a Mario World movie and left Rosalina out for the next.
Exactly. But I'm not complaining here. This is a positive discussion. So I'll end with the final one I have on my list officially, being character-based again. I like the Lumas. I think it was smart turning them into these, like, rambunctious little children, that Rosalina has kind of, like, herd around like cats, and I thought they were really cute presents, though also oddly competent when they needed to be, like flying the entire starship to the dinosaur planet that they were on. But yeah, I like them all. I liked when they're wearing the little Star Fox what's the word I'm looking
Vest.
for? Vest, thank you. Really cute, fun presents. I like their voices, and I especially like them being fans of Mario, the plumbers, Mario and Luigi. It was fun hearing them be so excited about that. And now I'm gonna envision that when I go through the Mario Galaxy games again. It's like, oh yeah, they're all fans of me, So
Yeah, and I think it's really good. I mean, one thing with Nintendo is they always look after their characters, and I like that Mario is a legend in his own movies as well.
right.
So I like the amount of respect and reverence they have, and the Lumas serve that purpose really, really well.
Exactly.
They love Mario. They remind you why Donkey Kong is so cool. He's not only popular outside of the games, in our world, he's popular in the actual Mushroom Kingdom world as well, which is awesome.
Absolutely, right. Fully agreed. Do you have any final highlights you want to get out there before we wrap things up here?
Sure, I think one more, and it's the biggest sort of draw of the movie is the actual Mario brothers. They were separated in the first movie. I loved seeing Luigi just hype Mario up throughout this whole movie. They are so wholesome. I don't want conflict between these two. I think they work as just two brothers that adore each other. I mean, Luigi's telling him, like, a princess is lucky to have you. Like, I don't care what you do for a job. And it's so endearing to see them like that. We don't get to, we know that they're brothers in the games, but we don't actually see how much they truly love each other.
I fully agree with that, and I think that applies to both movies. Even in the first one, Luigi says something like, Bowser asks him, like, would a princess marry him or something? And he's like, yeah, she's got good taste. And,
Yeah, it's a great line.
That's hilarious. And yeah, I fully agree with you. Like, I was actually a little worried. I was almost thinking that with the first movie, they were going to have like some kind of rivalry going on with them. I'm glad they didn't go that route. I think the way they're handling is great, where they do, hype each other up. They support each other. I think it's just really wholesome, really great. That's what I want to see. And yeah, I would agree that by and large, I enjoyed their interactions here, and it was fun seeing them actually get to do things together. Again, like that world map sequence. So.
And it depends how much you love these characters. Like, if you love these characters from the games like I do, like, it is such a treat to see them in, a cinematic experience. So
Yep.
that, if anything, these movies, it's just so much fun to, like, see these characters in a totally new environment and treated with, like, a lot of respect and a lot of action. It's so much fun, man. It's like why I go to the cinemas.
Yeah, I mean, I can't disagree. Like, now that I've gotten over my initial disappointment, I've been able to appreciate the movie more on its own level, and it's something you're not going to find anywhere else. Like, there is something that is actually pretty unique about these movies and how they're pulled off, I feel like. And, a large part of that, of course, is how it's tying in 40 years of Mario lore, and as a longtime Mario fan, I've literally been around as long as Super Mario Brothers itself. Like, I just love seeing that on the big screen. Finally captured in a way that makes sense, unlike the 93 movie, which left me disappointed for 30 years, until they finally made a new one. So, yeah, it's just been a lot of fun seeing this journey so far, and can't wait to see what happens in the next one. So, yeah.
Me too. I mean, that's assuming it is a Mario movie. I feel like the next one might be Donkey Kong.
Could be Donkey Kong, could be Luigi's Mansion, maybe. But there were those Donkey Kong rumors, and I'm fine with that too. I mean, I'm fine if they take a little bit of a break from Mario. Though I would, not that I want a break, but I'm fine with it if it gives us DK and maybe the return of King K. Rool again. I would love to see him on the big screen. So.
You don't have to tell me, mate. I'm the biggest fan there is of DK.
Oh yes, hell yeah, that's awesome. All right, Peter. Well, it's been a pleasure talking with you. Where can people follow you at for more on everything you have to say?
Yeah, so you can find me and my good mate Liam's YouTube channel at Popcorn Buffs, TikTok as well. We talk about all things movies. Sometimes, we're lucky enough where there is something like a Mario movie that comes out and I can super geek out on it. But, anything like Marvel movies that are coming out, we're really excited for Michael Jackson as well. We'll be covering Michael. So, yeah, for like any movie talk you guys want, we are more than happy to provide that for you.
And that's over at Popcorn Buffs?
At Popcorn Buffs, correct.
All right, we'll have a link to that in the description below, everyone. With that, thanks for watching. Peter, thank you for joining us. It's been a blast talking about the things we loved about the Mario Galaxy movie. And, of course, everyone, stay tuned for more from me on the movie as well, because I've got more to say. So, with that, we'll catch you later. Bye, everyone.